So we're going to run the mill today. Me and Joseph right now. Timothy's going to be back here a little bit. I got some red cedar that we're going to cut up. For 100 years I've been going to put red cedar posts on the front of my house and make nice cedar railings because it doesn't rot and bugs won't bother it. It'd just be really nice to have these red cedar things. So over the years I've been collecting logs and things like that, but here in the midst of these, and actually underneath that great big log that's around the corner, which is going to be a bitch to get to, but I might just cut that thing up for the sheer fun of it. It's a red oak, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. I do have to get my chainsaw out and fire it up, but maybe I'll let Timothy deal with that. But the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to have Joseph here. He's going to take that tank off the top there, the water tank. That has to be taken off, and we have to put water in it so that we can lubricate our blade. I do remember having a little bit of a trouble here with this glass. Oh, no. I'll just stick it up here. That's good. I think that glass is busted. I don't know how much fuel is in there either. This looks nasty. Yeah, see, it's got some issues. I'm hoping I got enough threads there to keep it warm. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I've been extraordinarily busy running hay to composters and trying to get things where they need to be. Had a couple of days of rain. As you can see, the water that's underneath the mill. My back is just trashed. I mean, I know it's just trashed, and in this video you're going to see me kind of wincing a little bit and not doing a hell of a lot. Pulled some boards off the mill, that's about it, but yeah. So anyways, what I'm doing is we're just getting this thing ready to go. I could have dropped that head unit down so Joseph would have had a little less trouble putting that water tank on there. I mean, it is battery operated, so when you're using it, the engine runs. There's two alternators on this thing. One charges the batteries for the engine, the other charges the batteries for the engine and the head unit and the, all that function there. And then there's another battery that is charged up, I believe, by the pickup truck when you hook to it, and that battery just runs the brake system. So yeah, anyway, it's kind of funny the way this thing goes, but yeah, there's two alternators. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if both alternators are hooked up or not, to be honest with you. I know there's two of them on there, a big one and a small one. I'll have to look and check, but not right now because I'm not near the thing. I'm actually in my house. So anyways, what I'm doing is explaining the simple functions to this machine to Joseph. He has never ran it before, and he said to me, he said, well, I'd like to learn how to run it, which is fine by me because, you know what, I get people ask me all the time to run this mill for them, and I just don't have the time to do it. And, it'd be extra money for Joseph. I did pay like $55,000 for this thing, and for it to just sit in a building with 150 hours on it, from me using it for my own personal use is kind of sad. It should have 1,500 hours on it by now. And, but it sits in the building, in a very nice building. There's no rust on it ever. I oil it, take care of it, start it every once in a while just so that it runs, just so that it runs. You have to start them. If you don't start these things and run them every once in a while, it's just like any car or tractor or truck or anything. They do get shitty. They just go bad. I mean, I watched, Al's Sawmill. God darn it! Why in the heck can't I remember his name? Maybe it's too early and I haven't gotten my Linda Sawmill Cinema and videos by Al. Those guys over there. There was an LT40 that was kept in a building that had a leaky roof, and the thing literally had, I believe, if I remember correctly, less than 100 hours on it, and it was total junk. Total junk, because it was like in a greenhouse that had no way for the moisture to escape, and it destroyed the machine. This machine has never spent a night outside when I go and do a job or whether I'm working or not. I don't care if it's dark out or not. That thing is getting blown off with a leaf blower. and put back in the building. And that's just the way it works. Yeah, so I guess I should shut up here, but I'm not going to. The task for today is what I said in the beginning, and that is to cut red cedar. Now, cutting red cedar is just a pain in the ass. It really, truly is a pain in the ass. The reason it's a pain in the ass is because the doggone things they're so small. And you cut and you cut and you cut and you cut, and you get very little lumber out of it. So, as you can see, I've got Joe learning how to turn a log. Actually, we slab sided those. Those are for the posts for the uprights on the porch to the house. And there's going to be videos of that happen when I get around to doing that, which should be kind of shortly. I'm not going to be able to do a hell of a lot for a hell of a while because of the weather. The weather around here just sucks terribly. I mean, really sucks terribly. Yep. So I had to remember what I was doing in order to show him what to do. So I actually cut some of the footage out of that so that, you would see Joseph actually learning how to do it. Because I haven't ran this thing in a couple of years. Literally a couple of years. I may have taken it out for something. I can't even remember what. But so I had to run it up and down a few times and learn how to do it and how to set it up, because it has simple set works and all that crap on it, so that when you bring it back, you just hit the button and the machine will drop automatically to the preset size that you want the board to be cut, and it even takes the kerf out. The kerf meaning the slice that where the blade width. And I think I'm set up for 1/8 of an inch for blade width on this thing, which might be a little heavy, but that's okay, because if you're cutting rough cut lumber, and you decide you're going to run it through a wood plane, you can put it down to the 1 inch or, 3/4 of an inch or whatever the heck it is. But for red cedar, most people, they just cut it to 1/2 inch, and then they'll run it through the plane, and before you know it, you've only got 3/8 of an inch or 7/16 of an inch of red cedar when you're done. And this blade isn't entirely sharp. You can see it's not porpoising, but you could see the steam coming off of the blade as it's cut. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trimming the white wood off. What I've done is I flipped the board, and because this thing does not know where the bed is, I mean, you can collide right with the bed with this thing in manual mode. Automatic mode, it'll go to 1.5 inches. So what I do is I bring the board or the cant, the log, down to red cedar, just at the white wood, where the white wood ends, and then I'll cut from the top down. And then at the bottom, what I'll do then, or when I get to the deck or to the deck of the mill, what I'll do is I'll flip that board over, and then I'll put it into manual mode and then cut within 1 inch of the deck there. And that will take the white wood off, and I'll end up with the last board of white cedar. Made them all about 5 inches wide. The reason I did 5 inches wide was because that's pretty much the average for getting the red out of these little cedar logs, because they're not very big. We spent probably 3 or 4 hours cutting 200 board feet of red cedar. If I was to get into a nice big straight log of, say, ash, oak, pine, I could really make some time. I can do 500 board feet an hour pretty efficiently. This mill, they claim, is like an 1,100 board feet an hour mill. I'm sorry, you're not going to do that. I don't know anybody that can do 1,000 board feet an hour with one of these things unless they've got edgers and a crew like there's no tomorrow. And I mean a crew, like 5 people. Then you can really get them to go. But for the most part, these things they're good machines. They will do a couple thousand board foot a day. I mean, if you're really by yourself, you could do a couple thousand board feet a day. With a crew of people, you could do several thousand board feet, and you can make a living at it, I guess, if you really wanted to. I know the Stony Ridge farmer, he's looking for, he's got a guy that is going to come down and charge $50 an hour, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, beyond reasonable, to be honest with you, but it's probably just the guy and maybe him and his wife. I mean, I know the Stony Ridge farmer and Mrs. Stony Ridge will probably be working right alongside of this guy, and that wouldn't be just too bad because, let's face it, a 10-hour day is $500, and you can get a lot done in a 10-hour day. But anyways, I guess that's the end of this video. You've heard me rambling on, and yeah, that red cedar dust, that's good for putting in little baggies and putting in your dryer. It'll make your clothes smell like red cedar if you want. So, thanks for watching.